and welcome to Hello Chaos, the unfiltered podcast for founders in the messy middle. No fairy tales here, just the real grind, the grit, and the chaos of building a business. Well, I'm so excited for today's episode and today's show. We've got Caroline McDavid. She's co founder of Juiced Fuel and founder of the Fuel Forward Foundation out of Charleston, South Carolina. Well, you're like your neighbors to us. So, welcome, Caroline. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Me too. So, tell our listeners what is Juiced Fuel and then how is that connected with the Fuel Forward Foundation?
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you. So, Juiced Fuel is a mobile fuel delivery service, right? It's what you would think of as Uber for gas, DoorDash for gas. That's the best way I can explain it. And we have an app that works. Enter your car, your location, your time. Our drivers accept that request and they'll fill you up in your front yard. They'll fill you up at work. So, they are driving around town at all times and can fill you up. Now, what made us go into this foundation journey is last year during Hurricane Helene,
Yeah.
you know, we were approached by many people about ways we could help, and people wanted to donate money to us so we could help people get fuel in situations and disasters. So, we went to Augusta, Georgia. We were helping people in the Chick-fil-A parking lot on a Sunday. We set up this
Wow.
drive-through, and everyone came through, and we were able to give families 10 gallons of gas each. At that point, there was no self-service, there was no point of sale
Right.
transactions, and so, going forward, I was like, "How can we use what we're doing to do good in our community?" And that was definitely something that I was called to do with my history in nonprofit organizations. So, we are gonna be raising funds for, future natural disasters so that we can deploy our juice fuel trucks that are gonna be currently all over the nation to, support those, causes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love how you made those connections. So what inspired Juiced Fuel? Like how did that come about?
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm the queen of being on E. Let's be honest here. I am always on E. I want to see how long I can make it. Not on purpose though. It's just because I'm a busy mom.
Right.
During
And you
COVID,
get the bing.
right? Yes. And then I get in the car again and I forget. It's like I have amnesia every time I re-enter my car. So during COVID, me and my husband were sitting there. He actually was never off. It was me alone with my toddler at the time. And I was very, very pregnant, not knowing I was going to be entering COVID pregnant.
Right.
So that was a surprise. And has worked in the oil and gas industry over a decade. And so
Okay.
he was the supplier of gas for the gas stations across the Southeast. So,
Wow. Okay.
service, he's the one who was having to work still every day. And
Right.
with that, we were like, we're getting our groceries delivered every day now. Like, why can't we just get our gas too? I mean, why hasn't anyone done?
Right.
And so we started doing a bunch of market research and realized like there is a gap in the market of where you can, get a lot of fuel delivered if you are a big business, but you can't get this like little amount of fuel delivered. And so that's kind of where we started with the idea and took it to the next level.
So what cuz I know it's a franchise too, right? So you guys have built it so it wasn't just, "Hey, we're a local business in Charleston." You designed it to be a replicable, scalable, franchisable business. So what was that process like?
Yeah, honestly, we started this business with one track mind involved is getting out of the corporate world, building something for our own family, and then, taking it to the next level wasn't really on our radar. However, social media just took us to the next level. We had this moment where unexpectedly we went viral, and I'm talking not a little viral, I'm talking um, 14 million views. And so with that came hundreds and hundreds requests for franchising. But we were too early in the process at that point. So we had to halt everybody. We had to get on that Instagram live and say, everyone take a pause. We're not ready to do something like that yet. We do need to develop a little bit more. But with more time, there became more and more and more. And at one point we were over 1,000 requests for franchising. And so something was like, all right, we got connected with the right people, and that's what led us to the franchise journey. And ever since then, it's just been a great experience getting to know people and finding the right partners. And with the right partners, we've been able to franchise.
That's fantastic. So what was the shift or maybe you're still in it of you're also a new, it's still consider kind of a startup in its own right with the app and all that. And then now you're also building it for scalability and for franchise. Was there a big shift? Was it a natural kind of progression, or did you have to bring like new systems, new processes? Just talk to me
Yeah,
about that, like that messiness. Because
yeah,
like,
yeah.
is it messy? Maybe it was.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I feel like, when we started our business, we were working with a local launch program that was, setting us up for success.
Oh,
They had all these steps we had to follow. They were building our viable product, and, it was very minimal at that point and very, it wasn't what the dream product was, right? And
right,
so right in the middle of that entire process, they went bankrupt and disappeared. And so we were, sat there with this very minuscule product that wasn't going to take us to the next level,
right,
but and that the next level was actually just getting started because at that point we hadn't even got started. So we dug through the back end and we started looking for who actually created this because, they would contract third party
right.
people. And so we were able to find the developer of this, and he said he was dying to talk to us because one, so many people did not want to work on our project. They didn't believe in it. They didn't
Wow.
see the point. And so he was all in and he had so many questions but wasn't allowed to ask because he was the third party and he was only contracted by that business. So we got him in full time, like he was in New York City. He was developing our app from time we got started and took us to, the point of virality. I mean, at one point, the product he created us couldn't even handle the traffic that we were getting. We had to have shutdowns and we had to, yeah, it was a lot.
Lessons learned for him too of like, okay, what's the stress test on the servers? What's the stress test in the app? Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think at that point, we knew that, his skills were fantastic. They were, a big contribution to our success. But to take it to the next level, we had to, unemploy his work and find somebody who could scale the app on a nationwide scale. And so
Yeah.
that's when we ended that relationship with him and started with the people we're working with now. But it doesn't end there. There is
Yeah.
a new app being built right now. And so you just really never stop when you're developing technology.
That's right. That's right. The software side of it is insane. So curious, the launch program, was that in Charleston? Was that like a national program that you guys had found?
Yeah, honestly, it's local, but I think it was by chance it was local. We didn't meet them local, so it wasn't anybody who had a location. There was
Right.
people all over the United States that were using them, and we just happened to be in the same location that it was located. But the gentleman lives in Charleston.
Right. Just a coincidence that it was there. That is. Well, that's fascinating. And then as you moved and made the decision, well, so before, what was the social media? What was the thing that took it viral? You said it was a video. What
Yeah.
was the context of the video?
I've always been the content creator for, our business and, finding my voice was really hard because one, this is a
Yeah.
male driven, business side, right? So
Right.
gas and like, how do I find a voice in
And
gas?
technology too. I mean, yeah.
Right, and so, I was very consistent, I posted every day, and, like, I had no intention of going viral, of course, I was just throwing darts in the dark, if you will, and so, I just had this moment where I was like, "Oh, this would be perfect." So, it was the Will Ferrell cover where it says, "I don't care, I love it," and
Okay.
so I wrote at the top, "When people say you're lazy for getting your gas delivered." And so I don't care. I love it. And people lost their minds. They couldn't help but give their opinions. We've gotten the craziest DMs. We've gotten the meanest comments I've ever seen in my life. And it
Really.
was from there, it snowballed. It was just, I've never heard of this. This is the best thing I've ever heard of. Wow. Can you
Yeah.
my city and I want this. I want this. And so that kind of what drove us to the next level is just seeing that we had something that worked.
Yeah. Did you guys so how did you handle that from a cuz that was on your personal brand channel, or was that on the like a juiced fuel
Juice fuel.
social? So
It's
then
juice
it
fuel.
became okay, you found your voice. Did you respond to all of those?
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative, or did you just kind of like listen and observe? How did you handle that? Like what was the process of this is how we're going to respond to these things?
You know what? I didn't have a process at first. I was completely shocked. I didn't know how to handle it. There's not like a PR agency behind me
No.
telling me what to do. And so, of course, the very first, 3 hours that this is happening, I'm like, oh, we should delete all these mean comments because I
Yeah.
don't want this on my content. And
Right.
then it just got out of control. But, a lot of the things I liked to clarify, right? So there's an assumption when it comes to fuel delivery that it's too expensive, it's only for rich people, and our prices are very within normal for an average family. And so, those type of things that I would clarify in comments that were mean, of course, but I was like, it's not $10 a gallon. It's actually the same price as the pump. And so that would, just make people have conversations in the comments. And it just, got out of control at one point that I just let it go. And so I've
Yeah.
learned, but the first 24 hours, I don't think I slept. I kept waking up and I'd be like 5
You're like,
million, 7 million, and then it just went
hundreds of comments, thousands
right,
of comments. Yeah.
thousands and shares and reshares. It's led us to like a couple YouTube creators, and that has also driven a lot of the excitement around our brand.
Nice. So those content creators, they come to, okay, we can help you.
Well, no,
We can,
I think they come to us because we can help them, which is ironic because one of this
you're the
creator.
fuel to their content.
Exactly, yeah, they
Yeah.
use us for clout. They're like, there are videos that feature or their videos that feature us, if you will, are their most successful, and so they get millions and millions of views on their content, which obviously they probably make money for them. So they are
Mm.
definitely all about that, and so, yeah, I feel like now I should be charging people, from those social media contents, they're making bank. It's awesome, though. It really has put us on a platform that we didn't know we were gonna have.
Yeah. So in this journey, and your co-founder, it's you and your husband, right, that are working together. What's been what have you guys learned about each other in this process, kind of co-founding, now working? You can speak for you. Like, what have you learned most about yourself through that, and what have you learned about him that
Sure.
was different? Yeah.
Yeah, I have been a stay-at-home mom for a while because during COVID, it just made the most sense with everything that was going on with the
Right.
schools. It's not that I lost myself, but you just get in these like routines where it was like redundant. I didn't talk to adults very often. And at one point I was like, am I even able to have conversations with real adults anymore? And so I'm just doing so much more than I ever imagined. Like even this experience itself right here, right now is something I never even imagined. And I have more confidence than I ever had before in who I am and my brand and my business. And I just know like I have this genuine passion for what we're doing. And who knew that myself, could have genuine passion about gas, but here we are, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and so, like, working with my husband, we're 2 different types of people. I am type A. I was military raised by my father. He was very, rules and structure and lists. Like, we're gonna complete each task and we're check it off. Well, my husband is like a person who likes to jump, and he doesn't like a raft. He likes to just go in head first and figure it out, and that really terrifies me because I'm like, "Well, where's the plan? Where's the map? I need a map." And he is, you know you don't know until you try, and so I've had to step out of my comfort zone a lot of times just to, be in this business itself. The first
Yeah.
6 months to almost a year, I was just not even in belief that we were in business, right? I was like, "I don't know, Corey. I don't know if this is gonna work." Like, I couldn't
Right.
get in my all because I wasn't sure.
You're like, I don't know. I'm
Exactly.
skeptical. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so skeptical, and at one point, our sales seemed to be so down. I was like, "I don't know, Corey, I think we should just call it a day." And I probably would have called it a day many times, but he's like, "No, we're just getting started. You have to keep pushing through. This is why businesses fail because people just give up." And
Right.
sadly, I probably would have been one of those people if I didn't have this other person saying, "We
A
gotta just
cheerleader. Yeah.
right.
Let's go. Let's
We
keep it
gotta keep
going.
sticking it through." And so that's kind of where really truly my aha moment came, if I'm allowed to say that right now, is that,
Yeah.
that following May, we just made more than half of what we made the entire first year. And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, like how this is absolutely insane." I was like, I'm all in. And like that It's honestly, we had hired marketing companies, we had hired agencies, like we were not getting conversions. There were all sorts of just like disconnects. And so I studying the buyer journey. I'm, really involved in the stats and how we're going to better our business. And there's really no better person to do that than me. Like a marketing agency really isn't going to have the passion about what we're doing. And so the second I stepped in is the second we started exploding. I took
Nice.
over the marketing. I took over the stats, I took over everything, and that's when I do believe that we hit success because
You were
without
in the
that.
data. Yeah,
Right,
you're
yeah,
because that's what we always tell it's like data will inform. It also creates clarity around insights of because you're gonna ask the why, right? Why did it do that? Let me go through that journey again and find some discernment in there, or how do I replicate this, or why did it's
customer
getting in
too.
that messiness.
Right, yeah, and being the customer, I was, like, always thinking from a customer standpoint, like, what does the
Absolutely.
customer wanna see? Where's the customer getting the disconnect? Where's the trust not falling? Like, and with a new business like this, we're talking, like, something people have never heard of before, so they're confused. There's just needs to be so much more education to the process than typical marketing can provide. When you stayed in an Airbnb, staying in a stranger's house, that was so weird. People were like, "I'm not doing that." And then Uber, okay, now I have to get in this stranger's car and I'm gonna have him drive me somewhere. That's was crazy too. So I think we're in this like section of our business where people aren't sure because it's so new and the idea doesn't seem real. And also that, we're bringing fuel to your vehicle. You have to trust us that it's the fuel you asked for and that it's quality and it's a trusted individual who's having access to, where you live and all of
Right.
that. So building a brand from that scratch of like presenting ourselves as relatable people who are family oriented, who have these values, I do believe is what has connected us with so many people, not just here in the United States, but actually like the whole world. I've had people from Australia contact me, Philippines, Canada, United Kingdom. It's just insane the reach that we've had, and they don't just say, "I wanna do fuel delivery." They say, "I want to do juiced fuel in my country. How do I do juiced fuel? Can we partner with you? That would be so."
Right.
And so, just the fact that we have built trust that big is just a tell sign of, we're onto something.
You built a brand. You
Right.
didn't build a company, you're building a brand because you're creating an emotional connection with people.
Yeah,
And
which
that's
I
a
didn't
big
know
yeah.
from the beginning, that was not what my mindset was. It's just, let's just build a business, and really, I've
Right.
learned it's so much more than that.
This story is great. What was you talk about, other ahas. What was an operational bottleneck? I mean, here you're scaling it and it's like you're dealing with technology and app systems. What was a bottleneck in your business operationally that you thought you would never get solved or maybe you're still in it? Like how did you finally break through it?
Yeah, first of all, my husband was still working a job whenever we
Mm.
started this business, and so here he was, on his
Juggling.
right, juggling. He's on his regular calls, but now he has to jump into the truck while on the call and deliver fuel, and so there was just this, how are we going to be delivering to so many different places? Like, what are the logistics behind that? How are we gonna work through each one of these problems because you really don't know their problems until you're deep in the weeds and sometimes it's too late, and so we're actually still developing lots of processes as we go because we'll get a request in Somerville and then we'll get a request in Awanda, and that is honestly the worst combo. There's definitely tech that's going to be developed for route management planning so that we are able to kind of like scale those kind of business deliveries better because a lot of that doesn't work. But now we have 2 trucks that are on the road at all times, and we also have a 3rd truck that assists. So we're building that business on the 3rd truck so that can assist in times of those needs. But
Yeah.
it has been something like you just take it day by day and you take it request by request. And as we implemented new employees and new team members, I think that their input, their mindsets, we've all worked together to kind of come through some of those obstacles.
Oh, that's great. And so yeah, talking about people. Sometimes that's the hardest part of building a business is the peopling.
Yes.
And you said your husband was the one that was kinda in the truck, kinda delivering. And do you guys struggle with delegation? Is that an easy thing for you guys to kinda go, hey, we gotta move, we gotta give this to other people. We've got to delegate
Yes.
these tasks. And
Well,
how did you guys work through this?
yeah, I would say so we both have our own lanes. He's in the operations, money, banking, that lane, and I'm over here in marketing, media, franchise development. Like we both know what we need to be doing, so there's never any, crossover between like him telling me what to do or me telling him what to do. However, I do have to remind him things often because he's got a plate that's overloaded, and that's annoying to me because I'm like, you need to make more lists, of course. There it goes. My type A comes back and I'm like, where are your lists at? You need checklists. Um, but just in general, it is just it's just all chaos, right?
Yeah.
It really
Just
is just
it's prioritizing the juggling.
right, exactly. And people tell me I'm doing hourly work as a CEO or however that saying goes. And I'm like,
Yeah. That
you're
you're
just
in the business, not working on the business. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And so, the money, right? Hiring someone that costs money. And so, we're trying to save as a startup in every aspect as possible.
Oh,
So I have 10 roles and realistically, I shouldn't be doing some of those roles. However, even, simple things like talking to franchisees on the first call, everyone says that's a waste of your time. And I just don't think it is because these are people who are going to be representing my brand, my company,
right.
and I need to make sure that they are the right people. One wrong person can ruin our entire reputation. And
That's right.
so I put myself right in the front of that, and I do let them know, "You're not gonna get on franchise calls and talk to the owner on day 1. There's just not very good chance of that, and so,
Right.
take this opportunity pretty seriously because we are serious about our partnerships and who we partner with."
No, that's good. Now, like you said, to protect the brand. I think that's where a lot of people struggle. Founders starting up, that they are building a business and they don't look at it like, these are we're guarding our
Yeah,
assets, our values, who we want to be.
exactly.
And when you do that day one from the start, like, I think you accelerate faster.
Yeah,
I think you're learning about what things you need to be involved in and things that you can let go in that process.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and, with time has come more help, and so we've hired an onboarding franchise expert, so he's helping us, and that's been fantastic. That's a lot of off my plate, and I've been able to delegate. I've also hired a virtual assistant, life-saving. Her name's Lizelle, shout out. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know how I would survive, and so
Right.
those little pieces added into my schedule have really changed the game. I'm actually also on the verge of hiring someone to pick up my kids from school and
Yeah.
help me start dinner, and that's a huge step for me because that is the most stressful time of day for me at the end of the day, just
Yeah.
getting everything made, ugh, the worst, and so I'm really about to change the game with this new help.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Be smart in your delegation, right?
Exactly,
Because I think as founders and business owners, we start looking at time differently.
exactly.
What can I give up? What do I want to give up? Was
Yeah,
it was it the Halle Berry, the celebrity of, like, you know, her ex-boyfriend or whatever said, she really wasn't motherly. She wasn't the cooking and the cleaning type. And she, kind of did a mocking him as she's like laying on the beach, drinking a cocktail. She was like, "Oh, I'm cooking and I'm clean," whatever of that doesn't need to define success, right? As a
exactly. We've actually also been in a position where we're like, "Maybe we should hire someone to pick up our dog poop." And which I don't think that I've ever
I'm sure there's an entrepreneurial, little kid in the neighborhood
they have
who
a
will
whole
probably have a business that is for that.
right, there's actually a whole business here in Charleston, and I'm, like, considering because I saw my neighbor using it, and that's just valuable time we don't have right now, but, in my old life, we would never consider that because we
Right.
can do everything on our own, right? Like, we're gonna take care of everything, and now
Yeah.
that we're really prioritizing, like, our time and what we're doing, it's different.
Yeah. And you find joy in different ways,
Yeah.
right? So, uh, what has been, I mean, you've talked about a lot of like rewarding, kind of wonderful joy moments. What has been the most rewarding?
Hmm. Actually, my kids seeing me do something, like, my kids
Oh,
seeing me be more than just mom, I think, they been with me since day one. I was with them every single day. I was
Right.
always there. And I think it's cool that they see me in a different role and me accomplishing something as a family. I mean, they are my biggest supporters. They're my biggest cheerleaders. Are my biggest sellers. They go out and sell their teachers, their PE coaches, their friends' parents. They're like, you guys got to get Juice Fuel. My parents own this
They're wearing the
business.
merch. They got t-shirts signed.
They do. We sponsored their team and, like, the kids love it. They're like at the end, they're like, "Get juiced." And so that like, seeing that happen has been magical because, I grew up with a stay-at-home mom and, that just as a Southern tradition just seemed to be, like, what falls in line, and I've got to do both. How lucky, right? I've got to
Yeah.
see side of life, and now I'm getting to see this working mom side of life, which is a lot, and it's difficult at times and, there are challenges that come along with that. But I know my kids are really proud of me and, are my biggest supporters. So I love
That's right.
that.
Well, they're gonna learn something that they can't be taught in schools, in a book, or anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, what's been the biggest, like, jet moment? Was it the viral, or was there another, like, "Oh, no, what have we done? We've hit this wall," and how did you guys overcome that wall?
I mean, it has to be the viral moment, but in the franchise aspect, right? Since going viral, I had always kept everybody's names and email addresses and phone numbers. But so when we announced that here's our opportunity, we are franchising. And so I was getting scheduled on calls like 6 to 10 calls every single day. Every 30
Wow.
minutes, I would be on another call. So I'd be typing up their notes, sending them the email, and my assistant and I were just working through this thing of like, wow, this is way too much. Like, how can we scale this down a little bit with more serious candidates? I was in this mindset that I had to talk to every single person. And I was like, oh shit, we can't do this. Like, we can't just talk to every single person in the world. So I have actually like put boundaries on myself and put boundaries within our business to get the right qualified leads on the phone with me because with no knowledge up front, I was just doing what I thought was the right
Right.
thing. And so we've developed a new process to eliminate people who, perhaps don't have financial backing, don't aren't serious. We have what we call a lot of looky-loos. Like they think they can do it on their own, and so they get on the phone with me.
Oh, so they're like, "Ooh, how can I cheat the system and not, like, build my own thing?"
Right? How can I get enough information from her to take the idea?
So how are you finding that, like, how do you discern, like, how do you weed through that? Is there a set of questions that you guys have developed, or is it just
Yeah.
a gut thing of, like, these are some interest questions, but if you go this further, we kinda need to, uh, sign something. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
what is
bottom line, I ask people for a bank statement, and if they're not willing to show me the cash money, I'm not willing to get on the phone anymore, and the people who are
okay.
serious, they'll
Yeah.
show it to me, no problem whatsoever, they can't wait to get on the phone. The great thing about my calls is they're not really sales calls, they're already sold. They're
They're
ready to
connection calls. Yeah.
right. I'm like, "Let's just see what your vibe is." And usually the vibe is like, "I wanna do this right now. How can I get started? I have 10 customers in my city. I've already told all my family and friends. Let's go." And I'm like,
Give me the app. Give me the keys to the castle. I'm ready
right,
to
and I'm
go.
like, these are my people right here. I can
Right.
tell that they're motivated, they've done their research. The people who don't ask questions, the people who sit there and want me to tell them things, and the people I have to like, "Why would a business wanna use this?" I'm like, "If you don't know, then you're not my people. Like,
Right.
you're not gonna be able to sell a business you don't understand." And so, it's really night and day, the leads I get, and those people who, show the bank records are more likely to be those buyer candidates.
Yeah. How did you guys determine the franchise, like, package, the pricing? Is that something you guys did on your own, or is there, like, there's all these franchise kind of consultants out there that go, "This is how you need to package this stuff. This is what you're offering." How did you guys work through that?
Yeah, let's go back a second. So, we're part of BNI here in Charleston, and
Oh, yeah.
BNI, I was skeptical. My husband was first year, he was part of it, but I can attribute so much of our success to this group. We were connected with an individual here in town who, connect us to another individual who ended up franchising our business, right? So that
Okay.
is what has taken us to this next level is that connection. It's a third tier connection, priceless. And so our franchise consultant, his name is Greg. He works for a franchise consulting company. We met him in Vegas in January, and he actually called us the day before Christmas, the day after Christmas. This man, nobody works at Christmas in Charleston. No one works in
Right.
December. And so this
Right.
man was like, "You have something. Let's get this process started. Come
Right.
to
I
Vegas
want
to."
to be a part of it. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, "Let's get you to the expo in Vegas." And so
What's
we
the
met.
expo? Is it like a franchise expo? Oh, okay.
Oh, and we had we had a beginning booth, to concept idea, and he introduced us to a lot of folks. We were able to cut the ribbon. It was we met some high individuals in the company and in the industry, and from there, we got started. We had our documents created, and I think it's astronomical how fast this all happened. But, by April, all of our documents were done and we were ready to franchise. And so
My
this
gosh.
guy, he had processes, and we got connected with our attorney, Lindsay, and he gave us like a platform within his consulting business. And so a lot of that had put, markers in place for us to be in that position of franchise. I don't think he knew the monster he was dealing with when he got in business with us because, I would say most businesses that get into franchising, they're going to be, really utilizing a consultant.
Yeah.
However, our business explodes with or without anyone. And so the amount of interest that comes in is, far beyond anything he can handle either. I mean, we
Right.
are just getting so much attention, and it's, gonna be positive for all of us.
That's right. So how many locations are you in now?
So Charleston is still our only live location,
Okay.
and that's really because, we've been on these calls. However,
You're in the process of vetting.
right, but we have closed on locations. So Dallas, Texas is gonna be our first location. It probably
Oh
will
my
be by the time this is out.
fan perfect market. The
Right.
cornerstone of fuel and
Exactly, yeah, and so, we've sold 2 territories there, 2 in Omaha, Nebraska, 1 in Louisville, Kentucky, 1 in Wichita, Kansas,
wow.
2 in Columbia, South Carolina, 1 in potentially Wilmington, North Carolina. We have a line out the door for Florida right now. We also have Georgia on the board, whether it's Savannah, Columbus, Augusta. There's just lots of people in the pipeline right now. And
Yeah.
so we actually just saw yesterday our first picture of a juice fuel truck in Dallas. And oh my gosh, it's a surreal moment. You're like, our own brand. We designed this, and now it's going to be opening in another city. This guy we're working with is fantastic. He has lots of franchise experience. He's actually coming to visit us to do his first training. And
I
so
love it.
he's very open to being the guinea pig, the first of the first. What's so crazy is we are the first business to consumer fuel delivery franchise in the country. So
Yeah.
we actually have like really big shoes to fill and, processes to make. There's no blueprint for this. And so
Right.
it's great that we kinda get to be the leaders in the industry of, like, what the standards should be, and all these little copycats popping up, good on them. However, the standard is high and, to compete with us, and we
Keep
really
that brand.
exactly,
Protect it. That's right.
exactly.
So what do you guys do for boundaries as a married couple working together? I mean, do you guys do things that are like we're not going to talk work at home? And then what do you guys do on your free time to just like relieve the stress?
We're really working on that. That's one of our struggle points. I would say Corey is definitely what you would call a workaholic. He loves work. He thinks work is great. It's his passion. I mean, there's really nothing more exciting than seeing something you've grown from the beginning.
Yeah.
I cut off all my alarms and, notifications at 6 p.m. every night and, no work, no, and I actually like to sit in the dark for an hour,
Yeah.
because I just like to calm my nervous system and
Yeah.
be one with some peace because I do feel like every day is a little bit chaotic.
Right.
You know,
You got
now
to
there's
quiet the brain.
right, and my brain
Yeah.
is ADHD. It loves to be on rocket speed, and I'm always coming up with new ideas. And sometimes even when I'm laying down, I'm like, oh my god, I need to Google this idea. I got to. I like have a notes section in my phone in which I'm like sometimes driving and I'm talking notes. I'm like, here are 10 ideas for reels. I wanna and I'm like, okay, I've actually learned to also sit in peace in my car as well. So no radio, no
Nice.
silence. Well, I do tell Corey we don't need to talk about work all the time, but at the end
It
of the day,
happens.
It
Yeah.
happens.
It's
Part of our free time is honestly, I love doing nothing. I love doing nothing. I like sitting at my house. I like being with my kids. I like, just relaxing, going to a flag football game. We love taking our boat out. We love being in the peaceful quiet because sometimes, no one can contact
it's
us.
so much and your brain doesn't shut off. So I think what
Right.
you're doing is so smart of just sitting and quieting
Yeah.
the noise.
The boat is the best place. No one can reach you. Your phone is hiding. You don't want to get it wet, so you can't have
Yeah.
it in your pocket.
It's forced. It's forced quiet time. Yeah.
Exactly. It's out of the office. Sorry you can't get a hold of us right now. And really that's been great. Great time for us as a family to spend time too.
Well, I wish you luck in all the evolutions because it's an ever evolving journey
Exactly.
there. So, if you summed up your founder journey in one word, what would the word be and why?
I swear I had a word 1 second ago. Can I look at it? Oh, transformative is the word.
Trans.
Trans Transformative, because truly, like, who I was 3 years ago is not who I am today. Like, I've reevaluated my own self. I've become a new person. I have, like, looked at situations so much differently. I found, like, a purpose. I found my heart. I feel like things I never knew I was capable of. And so without this journey of Juice Fuel, like, I
Right.
didn't know I was even capable of some of these things. I mean, my husband has says he's always known that. And of course, you always have your inner person being like,
Right.
you
He's your
know,
mirror.
right.
And now he's holding that. Now you're able to see it for the first time,
Exactly.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah. He's
wonderful.
he's always had that confidence in me, and now I have that confidence in myself, which I think is truly transformative. Especially somebody I would say who is, I've always been a hard worker. I've always been
Right.
goal oriented, but I've lost sight. I've lost sight of like what my purpose is, and I think I've found it. And
Yeah.
hope to inspire other moms in the same direction.
They can do it too. Yeah.
Mompreneur.
Mompreneur. Exactly. So if you look ahead in your next chapter of this journey, what word do you want to have define that chapter?
Peaceful.
Mm. You're like quiet.
I'm really being in tune with this quiet aspect. Like, and when I say peaceful, I really do mean like, the chaos isn't going away, right? But
Right.
like finding the way to help other people, right? And I
Mm.
feel like that brings me peace and brings me comfort. And that's what I really plan to do with my foundation is,
Yeah.
give back, and that will complete my soul. So, yeah, that's
And
my peace.
that's part of the journey, the transformation, and then you guys launched this, and now you've launched the foundation, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
it feels
the
so good.
peacefulness of in your head and
Yeah.
your heart, but also in the community. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like kind of like a full circle of, like, peace, and I'll get there.
Yeah. I can tell when you talk about it, your entire body
Yeah,
lifts and your eyes lift up and you light up. So you can tell it's coming from the heart.
yeah.
So if I come down to Charleston, take a little jaunt, and we pop open some champagne or bubbly juice or whatever, what would we be celebrating a year from now? What's the win?
I mean, what I thought my goals were for this year have already surpassed. What my previous goal for next year, there's just endless possibilities, but next year, let's just say we're gonna celebrate 250 franchises opening. I
Let's
mean,
do it. Yeah,
let's
let's manifest it. Put that out there.
right, and I thought 100 would be huge, but I think we're gonna have way more than that with the interest that's going on, and especially some of the partners we've been talking with, not only here in the United States, but also Canada and,
Right.
some West Coast ones as well.
Well, we'll put it out there. I hope to celebrate that with you. I think we'll make it. I think we'll do it.
I think so too.
And is what's the best piece of advice that either you've heard from another advisor and that you've taken to heart and it's kind of become your mantra, or is there something that you've learned yourself through your transformation that you're like, this is the advice I would give for our listeners?
Yeah, just try. Just do it. Just jump in. Like, you're never gonna know, what the next steps are. You're never gonna know until you do it, and I think one of my fears in all of this journey was from the beginning is, "I don't know about that. I need a plan."
Right.
There's not always be a plan, and you're really not going to know what the plan is going to be until you're in the plan. So you just have to do it. And who you are from the beginning of your journey will not be who you are mid through your journey. Like right now, like my voice is so different from where it was, but it wouldn't have been where it is without jumping in. And really the confidence from my husband of like, you have to just figure it out as you go. And even
Yeah.
right now I have fears. I'm like, well, how are we going to get the trucks from here to here? How is the equipment going to come? He's like, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And so, that's truly, you're not going to know until you do it. And that's
Right.
what I've learned myself.
That's right. And then you just problem solve. It's the
Right.
constant problem solving.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Not only just in business, but like my life too, like
Right.
figuring out these sports, figuring out everything. Every day is really just solving problem after
That's
problem.
right. And prioritizing the most immediate.
Right.
I la It's like, I have 4 kids, so yeah, the whole work-life balance thing has never been a thing for me, and it
Yeah.
irritates me when I hear, "Trevor, how do you do balance?" Like, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
you're just juggling the chaos, and you're
You're just
just
doing the best you
problem
can.
solving whatever the highest priority is at the time,
Yeah.
and you figure it out.
I like to say we're just doing the best we can here. We're doing the best. Everyone is doing the best they can. And
That's
really,
right.
everybody needs that benefit of doubt as a mom, as a parent, because
Yes.
you
You
never
don't
know.
know what other people are going through. How do you just step in and go, "Give people some grace?"
Exactly. Exactly. I am 100% about grace because um, I can't make myself feel bad about certain things because,
Yeah.
life.
That's right. That's right. I've loved this conversation,
You
Caroline. It's
know,
so nice to meet you and hear your journey, and I love the story and how fast you guys have accelerated. It's just kudos to you guys. You need to pat yourself on the back how far you guys have come.
yeah.
So that's fantastic. And you're here in our state. I love
Yeah.
it.
I love
You
it
need to
too.
amplify what you're doing.
I know. Well, we're coming to Greenville eventually. That's on my
We
list. So,
we will need to meet up then. And
mhm.
I got to get down to Charleston to meet some other folks down there in the ecosystem. So yeah, we need to touch base. But before we go, where can people get a hold of you, connect with you, learn more about how they can support the foundation or Juice Fuel?
Yeah. Where I share most of our journey is truly through social media. Instagram is the best way to support us, like our posts, because truly that's what helps us grow.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, our website, juicefuel.com. We also have fuelforwardfoundation.org. Shoot us an email. I'd love to collaborate. I love supporting also local businesses as well, because once you're a business owner, you realize the struggle of business owners. And
that's
I
right.
love to partner with local businesses and support each other, because truly that's what this is all about, right?
That's
It's
right.
just supporting other people. So
It's
yeah,
building a community. Yeah.
yeah. Shoot me an email on the website, and I'll be happy to chat.
Excellent. Thank you. And we'll tag and make this available in the episode. But that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you found yourself nodding along or laughing or cheering Caroline as she was telling her story, please make sure to subscribe, share, leave us that 5-star review on Spotify, or you can dig deeper into founder resources. We've got lots of tools for founders and entrepreneurs, a lot more episodes over at orangewhip.com, and that's orangewip.com for work in progress, because that's what we all are. Until next time, stay curious and stay scrappy, and let us help you through that messy middle. And we'll see you again next week.